Do your roll call or whatever, and then make your motion to go to executive session.
I'm looking at, yeah, hold on a second. Hold on, gentlemen, I got a burglar alarm here I need to answer.
Al, just mute yourself if you're making a call.
Yeah, thank you. Well, let's talk about this. Okay, sorry about that. I need a motion to, sorry. Roll call. I'm here. Ralph is here. Michelle is here.
Yeah,
And James is here. We have a quorum. Now I need a motion to go into executive session.
I make a. Hey,
Al, I think one of you have to read that vote in accordance with.
Am I allowed to do that, or is it going to be somebody else? Need a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion. Go into executive session.
Hey, Ralph, you have your handout in front of you. You need to read the Rhode Island general laws.
I don't have that in front of me.
Okay. I'm going to read it for Ralph, since he doesn't have it in front of him. In accordance with Rhode Island General Law 42-46-4 and 42-46-5A1 and 42-46-5A2, the pension board will convene into executive session to discuss personnel issues and litigation. I need a second on that motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to go in executive session. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Okay.
All right, so everybody needs to leave this Zoom meeting and go to your other link from Chief Verone.
Yep.
And that's where you will hold your executive session. Once that executive session has concluded, you guys will all come back to this Zoom link for your normal monthly meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Did Ralph get the email? We didn't check with Ralph. Did he get the email?
Ralph, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay. Do you have the other email link to go to the executive session?
I did. It's just a question of getting to it.
Okay, so
Let's
you
see.
should have gotten an email around 10:45, between 10:45 and 11 o'clock this morning with information for the executive session part of the meeting. So you need to join that meeting.
Okay. The executive session.
All right, Ralph left and went to the executive session, so,
Okay.
all right, I will be here when you guys get done.
All right, Joe.
Thank you.
Oh,
Ralph, can you hear me?
yeah,
Okay, you came back to the regular monthly meeting. You didn't go to the executive session. They're waiting for you over there.
I'm stuck.
You
I'm not,
left this one, you left this meeting correctly, but you've got to go over to the executive session one, so you should have a different email.
Ralph, I just sent him another one, Joe. Ralph, I
Okay.
just sent you a new one at swingdancedaddy@aol.com. Is that correct?
Yeah. yeah,
All right. So if you go on that, there's an email. It says executive session. I just sent it to you again, and there's a link on it. Just click on that link.
all right.
Okay.
I may try to, if I don't get it on the Zoom, I'm gonna try to do it just by telephone.
All right. I didn't send the entire invitation. You'll have to look for the first email for the phone number. I just sent the link on that.
All right, well, let's see, I'll go back. Let me see,
Yeah, so you got to close out of where you are,
yeah,
open up that new email, and just click on that email, on the link in the email.
close, close. Clicking on the X, this won't go off.
Oh, there's in the bottom right, there should be a leave button. When you put the cursor down in the bottom right or top right, you should see a leave button.
All right, leave.
Is he going, Joe? Are you there, Ralph? Ralph was just having a little problem getting on, so hopefully he's getting here.
Yeah, looks like everybody's starting to pop back in. You're on mute, Al.
Okay, I got a little strip on the side. I can't make it bigger. I just about can see things.
Okay.
Oh, that's better. Okay. All right, do we have everybody? Joe,
Yes, sir.
is that, oh, no, that disappeared. You answered that question. You might have trouble with Ralph coming over.
Yeah, just waiting for Ralph and for Michelle to come back over.
Right, okay.
Michelle just joined us, Al, so now we're just waiting for Ralph.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Ralph is logging in right now, Al.
Okay. Is he got audio?
It says it's connecting.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Ralph's audio is working. His
Okay.
microphone's muted, but
Yeah, that's
It's on.
okay. I see it. Yeah.
you're set to go whenever you're ready, Al.
Okay. I'm going to call the meeting of the West Warwick Pension Board to order Monday, February 8th, 2021 at 20:05 hours. Roll call. Tracy, you want to do the roll call? I'm going to do the roll call. Tracy, in case you can't hear. I'm here. Ralph? Ralph, you got to unmute your mic.
Albert Heru,
Okay? Can you
Ralph
hear?
Palmini, Michelle Lombardi,
Yeah.
James Atchison.
Here.
Okay. We have a quorum. Next thing is, need a motion to close the executive session and seal the minutes.
Yes,
Motion to close and seal the minutes.
Motion's been made.
I second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to close the executive session and seal the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? It carries. Okay. Item E is review and approval of prior minutes meetings for November 23rd, December 14th, and January 27, 2021. It's, anybody have any discussion on that?
No.
I do not.
Okay, hearing none.
I'll make a motion to approve the prior meeting minutes.
I second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve minutes from November 23rd, December 14th, 2020, and January 27th, 2021. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item F, review of Rockland, Clearbrook monthly expenses and portfolio status for the previous month. Okay, on Clearbrook. First one I got, which we haven't gone over in a while, is November 30th of 2020. And that, boy, I can't. Tracy, that's come out black like it used to before. I can't see a thing on it. Do you have anything that's clearer? Let's see what December's is. The only thing I can give you that I can see on here for November 30th of 2020, the total plan had a market value of $47,494,402. That was ending November 30th. And the next thing we had was December. And that one has a market value as of December 31st, 2020, $48,172,595. Any discussion on Clearbrook? Okay, next
No.
one is Rock,
No, I had no questions.
okay, thank you. Next one is Rockland. I have, November, 2020. Beginning market value, 39,190,267.84. Ending market value on November 30th, 2020, 43,217,985, $85.62. Change in the value was $2,521,870.43. Rockland now we have for December. 43 million. Beginning market value is $43,217,985.62. Ending market value of December 31st, 2020, $43,760,092.56. Change in value of $629,450.10. Any discussion on Rockland Trust report? Hearing none. Move on to the next item on the agenda. Item G, discussion and action regarding payment of bills. G1, Olin and Penza, LLP. 1A, monthly legal services for pension board counsel. File MBF 7372, the general file for November of 2020, the amount of $2,553. That's for 13.9 hours of work. And then December of 2020, the amount $2,608.50. Hours of work, that's 15.3 hours, for a total of $5,161.50.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve item G1, Olin and Penza, for the amount of $5,161.50. That covers the month of November and December of last year, 2020. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Michelle?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Item G2, Howard E. Nyhart Company. 2A, invoice number 0163750, actuary and administrative service for November of 2020. Did benefit an application for Paul Souza, Quinn Hodder. Actuary is 0.9 hours. Analysis, 3.2 hours. The amount, $960. Item 2B, invoice number 0163749, actuary administrative service for November of 2020. GASB 67 and 68 disclosures. Actuary 8.9 hours. Analysis 2.8 hours. The amount of $3,652.50. Item 2C, invoice 0164781, actuary administrative services for December of 2020. GASB 67 and 68 disclosures. Actuary is 1.9 hours. Analysis is 0.5 hours. The amount of $765. Item 2D, invoice number 0164782, actuary administrative service for December 2020, benefit application for Anthony Souza, Masharelli, and Hodder. Actuary is 0.9 hours. Analysis is 3.2, the amount of $960. Item 2E, invoice number 0164782, actuary and administrative services for December of 2020, preparation and delivery of actuary funding valuation report 7/1/2020. Actuary, 26.5 hours, analysis 7.4, the amount $9,430.00. Total amount for 2A, B, C, D, and E is $15,797.50.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve items 2A, B, C, D, and E in the amount of $15,797.50 for the Howard E. Nyhart Corporation. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Item 3. G3. Town of West Warwick Finance Department, invoice number 1809, Ward Clerk 2020 yearly wages of $1,313.86.
Motion to approve.
Second motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve G3, Town of West Warwick Finance Department, Ward Clerk, the 2020 wages for $1,313.86. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item H, discussion and action on municipal employees retirement system, which is known as MERS, to review status of the town council's progress with the state on joining the plan. I had a meeting with President Goslin and Mary Beth Williamson one night a few weeks back. It was a 4-hour meeting. We discussed quite a bit of things there concerning MERS and the pension system. The town has been having meetings with the police department, the police union, several of them. They have talked with a few people in the fire department, and I don't believe they've had anything with the municipal yet, at least not as the date that I sat down with them. They have reached out to all the people that are in the State House as far as submitting bills and so forth. Everyone they told me is on board. The things that I found out through this meeting was that it was different than what some of the meetings we had with Mr. Magazine a year or so back. Some things have changed a lot. They have changed such that they're going to accept all the liabilities if this all gets through as a bill and it gets approved by everyone in the town. The whole kit and caboodle, so to speak. This is still in the progress of going on. There's still more meetings to go. Timeline, maybe get a lot of it in place and going by the end of the year, but that's not carved in stone. But it does take time. We still have municipal union to get on board, and I don't think there was an issue with the fire department, but I could be wrong. But if they can all get that done, the state has requested the figures, which has been sent to them by the actuary and that, and I believe it was Clearbrook. And they done some runs with all the different situations and analysis of things that can happen. It was about almost a 2-inch packet. And the figures look pretty good. Their investments, which I read not too long ago, have done really well. They did a little bit more than they expected, considering everything with the COVID-19 that's been going around and so forth. So overall, it seems to be a favorable thing so far with everyone. They still have a lot of work to do, but they have put a lot of hours into it already. And that's pretty much where it stands. I haven't met with them since. I plan on doing that down the road here just to keep up to date, because pension board was not in any of this, didn't know that. I explained that to them and they apologized for not keeping the pension board up to date on what was going on. We did not know that they were doing this much negotiating and talking with people. So I'm going to try to touch base with them on a regular basis and keep up to date on that, so that when we have our meetings, we can give you an update on that. Any discussion on that?
Al, Kevin O'Connell has his hand up to speak.
How do I see that? I don't,
Click on the attendees or the participants tab at the very bottom of your screen, and it should show a list of both the panelists and attendees.
hold on.
Indeed, which
Nothing's coming up. Oh, here it goes.
attendees.
So you should have a list that comes up. It should have a
Okay.
tab that says panelists
Got it.
and one that says
All
attendees.
right. Now what do I do?
If you want to acknowledge Kevin, I'll let him talk.
Okay, how do I do that?
I just did that. Kevin can,
Yep.
if Kevin unmutes himself, he can address the board.
Hi, my name is Kevin O'Connell. I'm the chairperson of the West Warwick Police and Fire Disability Association. I would just like to know, when you had this conversation with the town council and they were negotiating with the state as far as MERS, I was trying to get into it. Did you notify the town council of, there's at least 6 former employees who are collecting more money than they should out of the West Warwick pension system, and that nothing has been done by this board to rectify the situation? Have they been notified that of these 6 individuals that have been collecting for 7 years more money than they're entitled to?
I do not know if the council or the 2 people that have been dealing with the state have said anything about that to them.
No, have you notified the council of your findings that there are 7, at least 6 or 7 people collecting more money out of the pension system than they're supposed to? Have you alerted the council, or have you done nothing about it?
This discussion was on the MERS, not on the disability pension system.
No, this is not about this is about the West Warwick pension system. If you go into MERS, they're going to have to do an actuarial study. And when they do an audit of the West Warwick pension, they're going to find out that 7 individuals are collecting more money than they're entitled to. Don't you would think that would be a good thing to notify the town and the state of the problem you have and how you're rectifying it? So when the time comes for the West Warwick to join MERS, that they would know what's going on and you're taking steps to correct the error that's been going on for 7 years.
The issue with that would be with the town and the state. They gave them all the information that they had for on the pension system, and it was everything, actuary studies and so forth. As far as an issue of whether somebody's getting more or not, or less, or not supposed to getting anything at all, that is with the town. The town is one who's done that, and you're well aware of that. That was not the board.
No, that's right. You're correct. I made you aware of those 7 individuals, and you said that the town wasn't keeping you informed as to the negotiations with the state. So it's the process, it's your duty as a member of the pension board, as this whole pension board, to notify the town that there's a discrepancy in the pension and to move forward and to correct that inconsistency. You know they're collecting more money than what they're entitled to. This board should be at least notifying them that they will have to stop paying back that money for the past 7 years. That's your due diligence as far as making progress to go into the MERS system. You want to keep informed, the town needs to be informed.
I have,
Although I appreciate your commentary, Mr. O'Connell, I don't believe that this is falling under this agenda item at this time. So I would instruct the board not to specifically discuss particular individuals.
Yeah, I'm not discussing individuals. I'm just making sure that if the pension board is now meeting with the town and going toward MERS, and it looks pretty good, Mr. Hero says, that maybe by the end of the year, wouldn't it be prudent of the pension board to notify the town of, I'm not suggesting, I'm not going to give you the names. You already know the names. I don't even want to do that. It would be prudent for the pension board to notify the town saying, hey, we have a potential problem here. We need to correct this.
my meeting wasn't there for the MERS, and it was just with a couple members of the council, wasn't the whole council. It was on a different subjects got to do with the information and that and problems, not so much problems, but issues that might arise concerning the state and the town joining together on the MERS. They just informed me that they had gotten all the information, numbers and everything between Nyhart and so forth, submitted to the state. The state has done all their run on the figures and everything and situations and analysis. And they're still digging through all that information. They've got a lot done, but they still got a lot more to go. And they're reaching out to the representatives and for bills and stuff. Mr. Magazine's office, several people there. But as far as any actual individual things, none of that was discussed.
Well, as far as, aside from this particular meeting that you're talking about, has the town ever been notified in the past about these particular 7 individuals getting money for all these years of what they're not entitled to? Have they been notified in the past by anybody?
The town
This
is
is
aware
Krista.
of,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Al.
I was going to say the town is aware of Mr. O'Connell's, what he's talking about. He's actually spoken at the council meetings.
Okay. Yeah. That answered my question.
Anything else? Sir, Mr. O'Connell?
No, because we're beating around the bush. If the state doesn't know that the town has a problem with their pension system, and we falsely go into the MERS system with us knowing that there's a problem, I don't think that's a good thing that would look favorable upon by the state. If we know there's a problem, the town knows there's a problem, and we're doing nothing to correct it. That's all I'm saying, is that if we're going to be open to the state and the state wants to take us in, we have to be on the up front with the state and tell them everything we know about what we know about the West Warwick pension system. That's all I'm saying. This has been
Okay.
going on 7 years, and you should just notify them.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not beating around the bush. You asked if I know if they've done anything like that or not. I do not know. All I can tell you is what they told me. They've got all the information, everything about the plan to the state. State has done all their runs and they're just working through it.
Okay, I think that'll satisfy for now. I have more questions to come from public comment.
Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion under H?
One more thing about this same issue. Yeah, aside from the notifying the town about these particular individuals, well, you said that they've already been notified. My question is now, what have they done? What is it? I'd like to know what the town has done, if anything. What have they done about correcting this? If in fact it's true, and I assume that it is. I'm assuming that Kevin O'Connell is telling has his facts straight on it. He's aware of that.
There's been some discussion and questions asked of the council and the town. To this day, I haven't got any answers back.
Okay.
So I'm just waiting for that. But as Mr. O'Connell pointed out, and he said before, and that this board had nothing to do with what he's talking about. The town is the one who has done those things to the best of my knowledge, and it is up to them to decide whether or not they want to do anything on it. There's really not much more to say. I understand his frustrations, but it wasn't the board that had anything to do with it. And it was many boards back.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, next item is I, discussion, action, vote on mortuary table adjustments and assumption rate, reconsideration of vote on November 23rd, 2020 of adoption of new mortality table rates. When we changed from the older table to the newer table, after we had a lengthy discussion with Nyhart and looked over fees and everything, we had actually talked about it about a year or so before, maybe a year and a half with Nyhart. And it was said then that we could, we could wait a little bit longer and go, but we would have to do something down the road because we're using outdated data. People are living longer than that. And it wasn't a true viewing of the liabilities and so forth. So on the meeting of November 23rd, 2020, it was voted on 3-1 to adopt the new tables. That in turn triggered some concerns on the town side because they're in the process of doing the budget. And when they got the information from Nyhart and so forth, that is going to increase the town's arc of contributions to the plan, almost $1 million, 860,000, I think it was. And that was a huge concern for them. And they wanted to sit down and talk with me. And that was just Mr. Goslin and Mary Beth. It wasn't the whole council. And wanted to know, what the reasoning was. And if we understood the whole impact it was going to have. So I listened to everything they had said. I asked a whole bunch of questions. They agreed that we do need to change the tables. In all fairness of everybody, the plan, the whole thing. But what they said was were having trouble to find out where they're going to get $860,000. It was just nowhere in the budget. They either got to cut services or take away from the rainy day fund, which is not quite up to par what it's supposed to be by the charter. And if they do that, they're back in violation of that again. And they've already been in that for a while. It was almost completely bankrupt at one point. That discussion led into the MERS, or the Municipal Employees Retirement System, and where they've been going with that, and how it looks like maybe by the end of the year or somewhere at the beginning of next year, it may be in place, and they will be assuming everything. My question was to them then at that point is, what about the liabilities? They told me they have it from them that they are going to assume all the liabilities. So I said, okay. My next question was, what about the tables? What tables are they using for themselves? And what tables would they use in that? And they didn't have any answer on that for sure. I don't think they knew. I don't think any of us would know. You'd have to sit down with them and maybe see. It's not apple to apple. Their system's a little bit different than ours. I'm sure they got some table that they use. I don't know if it's this one here that we've adopted, voted on in November, or if it's the old one that we had before that. Their concern was, since we're probably going to be going to MERS somewhere down the road here, that, and they agreed with my reasoning and what we did as a board when we lurched it out and what IOT said and all the information, that it's the right thing to do. But with going to MERS, which, like I said, seems to be pretty much going to happen, just don't sure when in that. It's just a matter of a lot of loose ends and paperwork to do. And it's not carved in stone yet. That if we're going to do that, that they suggested that we go back to the old table, and that way there they can get through the budget. And I explained to them, if we do that though, that's going to increase even more because it's another year and another one, so that exponentially changes the amount of the ARC's going to be down the road. And they understood that, they knew that. They said if MERS does happen, then that amount will drop because of the framework of how it's set up when you do join like that. And excuse me, I understood that. And I said, well, okay, so if that's going to happen, then the liability is actually going to drop because of the overall system. And when that was pointed out to me, I said, all right. I said, well, what happens if we don't, this thing with MERS doesn't go through by the end of the year or sometime next year? So at that point, then if it doesn't, then we will go to the new tables. If we go back to the ones, we'll go to the new ones, and we'll just go from there. So that's where that stood. So why this is on the agenda tonight is I thought about a lot of it, about that after that last meeting. That was a long meeting. And I talked to a few people that have been talked to by the town for the MERS and other employees and that, a few here and there. And for the most part, everyone seems to want to do it. A lot more than I can remember a few years back. I did discuss with those two members about some people that I've talked to in other cities and towns that have joined and they weren't happy about some things. We did iron out and talk about differences in that. But overall, they actually have done better. It was just issues with, retirement and time and all that. It's always going to be something when you join two different systems. You get one system and another, when you put them together, there's always going to be some little problems that are going to be hard to work out. Not everybody's going to be happy. It's kind of like when we took all the 39 plans that everybody had that they retired on for healthcare and combined them and put them all together and come up with 3 that we ended up doing, so that we could help the town with everything. It didn't please everybody, but it was a little bit for everybody depending on what they were looking for. So that all being said, um, after a lot of thought about it, I would think, based on everything that I've gotten and that we've talked about and that's been presented, that maybe we should reconsider the vote we did in November and go back to the old mortuary tables until at such point that if we do not join MERS, then we go to back to these newer tables. Any discussion on anything I just talked about?
I have a question. I have a comment. With all due respect, I know your heart is in the right place for the pensioners and everyone else. But I truly feel, as I did when the night we had the vote, none of us on this board have a great, deep financial background where we could be making those kinds of decisions. Yes, we need to have the money and the people are living longer, but why didn't any of you think about where are we going to get this money? I mean, did you just make the decision, make the vote to say, okay, yeah, we want to do that, but where did you think the money was going to come from? I don't understand. This,
It wasn't so much where the money was going to come from, as I said to Mr. Goslin, because I had a discussion with him before when I looked at actuary's report on what the arc was going to be spread out over a 10 or a 15-year period. And I said to him that night, it was after either a pension meeting or a council meeting. We're in the hallway, and I said, where are we going to come up with this money? Look at this. The numbers grow. He said, you didn't know at the time, because, don't know what it's going to be like in the future until you get there. So the same thing was talked about at this, when I talked with Nyhart, asked them some questions when I was researching it all out myself to get a better understanding. By using the older tables, the liability exponentially grows. So that becomes huge. If we change to it, it's not as bad. And yes, you take out the taxpayer is gonna, or somebody's gonna come up with that. Like for instance, this one I believe was $860,000 more for this next budget going in as the ARC. That being said, if we don't do that 860,000 more, then that liability is not going to go up 860,000. It's going to go up a lot more than that. And each year it just compounds off the year before until you make an adjustment and bring it back into reality of closer to what it should be. So that was the thought behind it. Yeah, it's a tough nut to swallow. Nobody likes raising taxes or having to have services that cover something. It's a tremendous job for the council has to try and do a budget and yet provide things in that, and not cut services, not raise taxes. And in this day and age, it seems almost impossible for them. I've had many discussions at council meetings. We raise the taxes and we buy something, okay, and we adjust for that. Now that's paid off in 4 or 5 years, and now we should be able to take that money back. But no, other things go up in that, and so we just need more. And we have to taxes always go up, keep going up, keep going up. So I was just looking at it all that way, and I said, well, as a board, we have a fiduciary responsibility to administer this plan correctly. So if we didn't make those changes, somewhere down the road, somebody's gonna say we should have done that based on the information that the experts have given us. And as you say, Michelle, we're not anywhere near any kind of accountant or financial expert on it. That's 100% true. But based on the information we got, we have to rely on those people. And so we did a vote. And you voted no, and that was no problem. I understood that. But then talking with them and that, and the only reason I thought about it and decided it might be a good thing to do is the simple fact that looks like we're gonna go to MERS. And I do have the blessing of at least Mr. Goslin and Mary Beth that we would, if we don't go, then we'll have to do it. It's gonna, that amount that's gonna have to increase is not gonna be 860,000, it's gonna be a lot more. And I was just trying to cut that down instead of, putting a huge amount down the road. We do a little bit now and chop off a little, and we're only adding a little bit more instead of adding a lot. If that answers your question.
That was the same take I had it. I mean, the reason that the pension system's in the situation it is now is because instead of making contributions that were supposed to be made in the past, that it was kicked off to the future. And if we're ever going to get out of the issue that we're in, you need to put in, it's all math. You need to put in the amount of money that's going to cover the liability in the future. And the question is, do you take a hit now and then a hit in the future, or no hit now and then a larger hit in the future? And doing that in the past has led us to a impossible financial situation to get out of. So I don't want to perpetuate that. The fact that the MERS factor being in there is certainly, I think, a positive that I think warrants reconsideration. But that's the reason why I voted the way that I did.
But I have a comment in that I had suggested probably almost 2 years ago that we discuss further the MERS option. That has supposed to have been on agendas, and we have been supposed to have been discussing it, and it's always been pushed under the rug. Thus, the reason I was discussing, in fact, of we didn't even look at that option. We looked at the option of, oh, let's just change the tables. These people, these financial people, they're salespeople. They want us to put more money in because they get more money and commissions on all that. So I kind of feel that we should have discussed all of our options. If MERS was not an option, then okay, then look to what we can do. But I just feel that, MERS should have been looked at more seriously, but I'm glad now that it's brought to the front, and that maybe now is a better timing that it will go through, seeing everyone seems to be on board with it.
Michelle, when you talk about being pushed under the rug, I can remember what you're saying, but back then, it was asked about the council where that stood, and they said they were looking into the state and then questioning it, and it was going to go further. We never did hear any more on that, and like I said, I had no idea they were doing the meetings until they questioned me on this table adjustment and where this money was going to come from. And then when they said all of that, had we had all that information, we may not have voted the way we did. We might have just left the tables the way they were. So it's not so much being put under the rug. It was just lack of communication, probably, in a nutshell.
I remember a couple of years ago, I attended a meeting. I forget where it was. I think it was in the West Warwick Exchange, in the West Warwick Exchange Center, at which Seth Magazine have attended, and a couple of myself and another board member attended, and some members of the active police and fire were there, and retiree groups were there, and Councilman Goslin was there, and so forth, where we discussed this whole business. And Seth Magazine says at the time that it was possible, and he mentioned about, well, we could work together on it. He said we could work on it. He said a number of different things, but of course there was no decision on it. I don't know what meetings had been taking place before that particular meeting or after, but I just thought I'd throw that out to tell you that there was something going on anyway. As that was, maybe that's an indication of it.
There was a couple of times when I tried to sit down with Mr. Magazine or someone from his office several times. Even Helene said she would help in that. We could not set up a meeting. Leave messages, talk to people. That just never went anywhere. Helene was going to try, and I don't think we got anywhere with that. And she's no longer with us. But so
Helene
it's
said
not
that-
for lack of trying.
Yeah. Mhm.
So back to what this topic is listed here. What I'd like to know what if people's thoughts are on about going back to the original mortuary table that we had an assumptions rate before we changed it in November 23rd, 2020, until we see how the town makes out with MERS. And if that doesn't go out, we could always go back. Anybody have any thoughts on that, or if they want to do that or not?
We make a motion to have a vote tonight, or does that need to go on agenda?
No, we can vote tonight. If we want to rescind that vote and go back to the table, we could do a vote tonight. And if we decide to do that, then I will contact Elizabeth at Nyhart and tell her that, because she will need to change all those figures, and that makes a difference. I don't think it's going to bother the auditor. I think Kristen and her said, but still need to do that because it's going to change something else, and we've still got some time before that. I think it's the end of March before that has to be done. So if we decide to do this, they will should have it in time.
So I'll make a motion to rescind the vote that we had in November, and we put that on hold until at such time that we may need to vote on it again and go back to the original way that the original charts that we were using.
Actually, I'm sorry, Michelle, but if there is a motion to reconsider the vote, it needs to be made by someone who was in the majority of the last vote.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
I'll wait.
Didn't know that.
I'll make a motion to reconsider the vote.
I'll second it if I'm not bad with.
Okay, any other discussion before?
I would only just throw out there, if it's possible, instead of just rescinding it, reconsidering it, and then instead of revisiting it a year from now, if we can just defer the enactment for a year. That way it's voted on approving the change, but it won't take effect until the budgetary year after this upcoming one, rather than starting all over again. Because I would think that Nyhart's going to have to do the analysis, do a presentation, and there's going to be, essentially the costs that were incurred leading up to the vote back in November. It's all going to have to be redone to have a full discussion on it, rather than just delaying the implementation of the new tables.
If I understand you correctly, then you would rescind the vote, go back to the older table, but a year from now, we would have another vote and go back to the newer table that we're on right now automatically?
Yeah, right. Yes, that I'm saying we vote now to approve the new table, but not effective until next year.
When
Doesn't
you
that
say next
complicate?
year, that's going to be it. Well, the only issue with that is, suppose their thoughts right now is maybe by the end of the year might have this in place. But what if it takes a year and a half? We have no exact time or a date where we can say what you just said. I mean, that sounds good, but I don't know if we can do that without anything more concrete than what they have.
I'm thinking keep it simple.
This is Krista talking, and you can certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but to Jim's point, you can move however you would like based on the recommendations of the actuary. I don't 100% recall what those recommendations were in November. But you could do either way.
Do you have a date in mind, sir, that you're thinking of, like a time frame date?
Yeah, so just instead of the increase having to go into this budget, it would essentially go into the next budget, which I think is what, when we had dealt with the actuary, the choice was, do we enact it now or do we enact it next year? If we do it now, then it's less money each year. If we do it next year, then it's no increase this year, but a larger increase in the future. I also think the benefit of doing that is that it really puts some fire, between MERS and the town in order to get it done by a date certain, rather than just leaving it out in the future, which again is, I think, how we consistently wind up in the situation where a year becomes 18 months, becomes 2 years, becomes 3 years, and we haven't enacted tables during that entire time, and then it becomes a larger liability to deal with in the future. I think providing a date, we could hopefully, get people moving as to whether or not it's going to happen.
All right, so we would have to do it.
Al, in these motions that are being made, I would like to include in the motion the actual figures that we're talking about, the old rate and the new rate, so we'll know exactly what we're talking about. Without I think it's important to, if you're making a proposal like that to change figures or to propose a new figure, well, that the figure should be in the motion.
Well, it's just the tables, whatever they are at the time that's set by the industry. So,
aren't we on a system? Aren't we on a program now whereby there's a certain rate in effect that we're?
Ralph, they're using the table that's set by, I forget what standard, what industry, but it sets the standard and that's what develops the table. And that's what we're using. And I forget what year it was done. They revise that I don't know, it's every 3 years, 5 years or whatever, or every 10 years. They come up with a new table with new rates based on a lot of factors. That information could change by the time, the next time around. And maybe it might be the same table, or it could be a newer table that's even different than the one that we voted on in November. Basically, we would say whatever the existing mortuary table is at that time, and that would cover whatever the latest version of it is.
So my opinion is that putting that time limit on there, although it's supposed to try to have everyone move things along faster, we may be shooting ourselves in the foot. I think it should be just kept simple, and then we could always have another vote at another time.
I don't think he's looking to have us vote on it, just have it so it automatically comes back up and we vote on it then. And if the council knows that that's going to happen, then they might move a little faster.
Yeah, but the council may be all in favor of it. Maybe it's going to be Seth who there's a delay. We don't know what's in store for us down the line. It may not be the council's fault. It may be the state's fault or someone else. There may be circumstances beyond their or ours or the state's control. And then when you put those kind of stipulations on it, you're kind of narrowing it down to, I don't know, that's just me. I say keep it simple, but that's just me.
Jim?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think to me, it's better to keep it, kind of keep it on there automatically, because we're going to have to deal with it eventually. And there's always an excuse not to do something that's going to increase, taxes and what the budget's going to look like. But at some point, my recollection from Nyhart's presentation was if we don't do it this year, then we have to do it next year, or else we're essentially going to be violating our fiduciary duties to the plan. So I don't think it's something we can push out. I think it's better to have a definitive date on when we're going to readdress it, because I think it's an important vote to have. And, I kind of feel that it should be kept, it should be kept certain that we need to deal with the MERS issue by this date, or we're going to have to revisit the table increase.
You're not saying make it a vote, you're just saying it comes up on the agenda for a certain month.
Yeah, right, correct, yeah.
Well, right now they're working on the budget for, that'll start, in May. So, we'll go to the, so, November, so. So we're looking at, before the next budget, which would be basically about a year from now then, right? So you're saying like March, it could be, we reassess this in March of 2022?
Well, I was thinking, we voted on it in November of 2020, so,
Yep.
kind of just
Okay.
keep it on that same
So November
schedule.
of 2022 then?
2021, right, this upcoming November, or,
Well, that's gonna be hard because they might be in place by the end of this year or might be after.
okay. All right, I got you. Okay, yeah, then March,
Well,
yeah, then I think March.
If we put November of 2022 and the deal doesn't go through with the state before that, we can always add it to an agenda at that time ahead of what we just talked about and do the change then.
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
I mean, I follow what I'm saying. If at any point
Mhm.
they seem like it's not a done deal and it's just not going to work, then we can change the tables at that point. Yeah,
Okay.
we have to increase. We're going to be an increase, like you say, of a little bit more money, but they can't say that we didn't work with them or try to make it easy for everybody. And I mean, there's not much more we can do. Your hands are tied to a point. Like we said, we do need to do something, but if we can put it off a little bit and get into there with the MERS, that'd be great. So I would just think if it's gonna take, there's still a lot of work to do. I'm thinking, they're saying the end of the year, but I'm not sure if that can happen. I'm thinking maybe before next year, but the next budget, but I'm not 100% sure on that either. I don't think anybody knows for sure. My suggestion is do November of 2022. We can always do it sooner, but at least there we address the issue at that point.
This is Krista. Jim and Al, just to that point, I don't know if it's helpful to consider that the actuary does give a presentation yearly of the state of the plan and any recommendations that they have for any adjustments that need to be made. So there will be that presentation from the actuaries this year.
That's true too, yeah.
I think I agree with you. We can put it out at, as a date like November 22, and then if it's something we need to address sooner, then it can just be, moved ahead to an earlier agenda item.
Okay, well, it was your motion, so do you want to change it or leave it?
Yeah, so I'll make the motion to reconsider the vote and not enact the table change this year, and then have it put on an agenda item for November 2022.
I second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to rescind the vote from November 23rd, 2020 on a mortuary table of adjustments and assumption rate and put it on the agenda for November 2022 for reconsideration. All in favor?
Al, the motion was to reconsider the vote, not to rescind the vote.
Oh,
I'll make it to rescind. I'm sorry, to rescind the vote of November 23rd, 2020, and place it on the agenda for November 2022.
So you would need to move to reconsider the vote from November 23rd of 2020 to re-vote, and then you can move to re-put it on the agenda.
Okay. All right. So then I'll just move to reconsider the vote enacting the change on November 23rd, 2020.
okay, motion made.
I second the motion.
A motion made and seconded to reconsider, let me just read this right. The vote taken on November 23rd, 2020 of the adoption of the new mortuary table rates. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I will call NIHOT tomorrow morning and inform them that. Sir, your next motion?
And then make a motion to sorry. So it's reconsider. So now to rescind the vote of
No.
just
No.
to
We
move
can
to
rescind it so it goes back the way it was. Your motion would be, what you wanted to do is have it put on the agenda in November
Gotcha.
2022.
He's got it, Al. He's correct. Yeah. So you've moved to reconsider the vote. The vote is now being reconsidered. So now what's the next motion? Jim.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
so now we got to vote on, well, we reconsider. Now we got to vote what we want to do. Okay.
Correct.
Sorry.
Okay. Right. So rescind the vote of November 23rd, 2020, and then place that item on the agenda item. Place that as an agenda item for the meeting November of the year 2022.
Krista?
That motion sounds okay to me.
We don't have to vote on, and it's already there. We're just rescinding the vote and going back to the old table. That's a done deal, right?
That the motion that Jim has proposed is to rescind the vote of 11/23/2020 and to go back to the table that was being used prior to that vote and to place on agenda item on November of 2022 the adoption of the mortality table that was proposed in November of 2020. I'm assuming, or any other table as recommended by the actuary.
Yeah, because it
Correct.
could change, right? Is that, so you put it all together in one, right, sir?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion made.
I second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to rescind the vote of November 23rd, 2020 of the adoption of the new mortuary table rates and to place on the agenda November 2022 reconsideration of mortuary tables that are present at that time. Did I say it correctly? Okay,
Yes.
motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Thank you, everyone. Next one is J, discussion action vote on Darrell Burley pension calculations regarding when Mr. Burley can collect his pension at deferred at age 62 or an early at age 50 with reduced benefits. Krista, I'm gonna let you word this correctly so I don't do it wrong.
Sure. So Mr. Burley has applied for a vested pension benefit. He has approximately a little over 12 years of service, and the actuary has asked for some more information from the board regarding calculation of that benefit and when the benefits would start under the new fire collective bargaining agreement and in accordance with the 2006 plan for police and fire. In order to evaluate what sections apply, I would recommend that the board consider its previous opinion that was issued in the matter of Patrick Kelly. That board opinion was issued on September 10th, 2018, and that dealt with an early retirement question for a police officer under the 2006 police and fire pension plan. Although Mr. Kelly applied for his benefits under a different CBA, it was under the same plan. So it would be my recommendation that the board review the opinion from the prior board on Mr. Kelly. Additionally, I will forward the board members the applicable provisions in the 2006 plan and in the relevant CBA for Mr. Burley. And then the board can review those sections and discuss it on the agenda next month. And if there's no further questions at that time, can place it on the agenda for a vote as to when Mr. Burley would be eligible to collect his pension benefit.
Krista, are you gonna do the same thing you did on the other one with given the different parts plus the conclusion so that we could vote on the whole thing?
Correct. I will give you a copy of the opinion regarding Mr. Kelly. And then I will give you a printout of the potentially applicable sections of the CBAs and the plan for your consideration for the drafting of a pension board memo for Mr. Burley.
Okay. So we're gonna need a motion then to basically, I guess, table this until next meeting when we have that information between now and then to make a vote on it.
I'll make a motion to table it until the next meeting when we have more information.
Second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to table item J until next month while we get the research information from Krista. All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item K, discussion action vote on disabled police officer Michael Nye's raises, COLA, if due one. Again, Krista, I'm gonna let you do this one so I don't.
Sure. This is, I have a similar recommendation regarding Mr. Nye that I had for Mr. Burley. I recommend to the board that I provide the board with copies of the applicable plan provisions and CBA sections so that a board opinion can be drafted regarding the COLAs and or escalators that are applicable to police officers receiving an occupational disability pension under the 2014-2019 collective bargaining agreement. There is an opinion that was proposed by the pension board previously on December 30th, 2019. I will circulate that opinion to this board for your consideration and vote at the next meeting. I would recommend that this be tabled until such time that the board members have had an opportunity to review that prior opinion.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to, I guess, table it until we've had a chance to review the prior opinion.
Second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to table item K until we can look at the opinion, previous opinion, and vote on it next month. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Item L, discussion action vote on Carol Messier's monthly pension amount. Krista, it was decided.
So there, sorry, I'm sorry, Al. There was a question that was raised by the actuary when applying benefits to Ms. Messier as to the COLA payments and payments that were received by Ms. Messier over the years. There have been various different benefits that have been received by Ms. Messier since 2010. And she was previously represented by counsel. Unfortunately, her attorney passed away in November of last year. I would ask the board's authorization to contact his law office to discuss if there is anyone who has been assigned to represent Ms. Messier in this matter, and if there are any documents on file regarding Ms. Messier's pension applications and benefits that they would be able to provide to us, so that we can provide that information to the actuary and ensure that the benefits are being calculated appropriately.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second emotion.
Motion made and seconded to have Krista research this further and try and contact the lower office that the previous lawyer worked for and see if she can get additional information so that we're able to get NIHOT the correct information to figure out the correctly monthly amount. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion, vote, action on Steve Harder's occupational disability pension calculation and termination of base of annual salary for benefit calculation.
This is a question that has come up for Stephen Harder regarding calculation of his occupational disability pension benefits and what figure is being used as the basis of NIHART's calculation of that benefit. I do believe that Mr. Harder is represented by attorney Iafredi and that she is present at the meeting this evening and would like to address the board.
I don't see her in the attendees unless I'm looking in the wrong place.
No,
Attorney Iafredi, if you are present, can you raise your hand in the Zoom meeting?
Mr. Harder is here in the meeting, but his attorney is not present.
All right, just give me 1 second.
Yep.
Okay, I apologize. I did contact attorney Iafredi. She is in the meeting, but she is on the YouTube link. So she will log in on the Zoom link so that we can hear her. But in the meantime, I will advise the board that she has provided a letter which has set forth her position regarding what should be used as the basis for attorney Harder's calculation. And I'll allow her to speak further to that.
Thank you.
If we can authorize her to as a speaker.
Phone number just popped in, so I'll believe this is her, 837-4777.
Yep.
She unmutes herself, she'll be able to talk.
Hey, folks, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Al. How are you?
Okay, and you, ma'am?
Good, good. So this is pretty short in terms of what I would add because I'm really just reiterating what's in the letter. But everyone here should be familiar with Steve's general process from the point that he applied to the present. It took, and I know you guys have trouble getting together and everything, but it took quite a bit of time for him to get his pension finally approved. And we were, obviously really happy that that finally happened and that he could move on. And then once we saw the Nyhart memo, that obviously brought up a significant concern because Nyhart was calculating his benefit as 66 2/3% of his basic annual salary, but based on the rank he held at the date of disability, which I don't really know what the board or Nyhart is interpreting that phrase to mean. Nyhart said the date of disability was April 2018, but there's really no explanation of how they selected that date. And after speaking to Steve, I don't know if that's the date of the initial injury, but he continued to work until I think it wasn't until January of 19 that he actually was out of work. So it wouldn't make any sense to me that Nyhart or the board would be calculating pensions based on date of injury. So say if you had a firefighter who was injured 6 years ago and was on IOD for some long period of time and then went back to work and then had to go back out for maybe like a reoccurrence, you're certainly not going to figure his pension or her pension based on 66 2/3 of a salary that he or she was earning 4 or 5 years ago. So I think in addition to not really understanding what that means, is it's inconsistent with both state law and the contract. So there is a separate statute, which I'm sure you read in the letter that I quoted, which basically says that, the cities and towns can create a pension plan that provides for a disability retirement allowance, but it still can never be less than 66 2/3 of a retiree's annual salary at the time of retirement, right? So this calculation, if adopted, would be less than 66 2/3 of his annual salary at the time of retirement. Similarly, the contract still has 66 2/3 of retiree's annual salary. It does not indicate that it's based on some sort of retroactive date or an earlier injury date. So I just think that the language in the plan could have potentially meant the point of retirement, because that's really when you become disabled. When you first go out, you might be injured, but there's obviously a chance that you could recover. We don't call you disabled at that point in time. We don't call you disabled until you retire. And so I'm asking the board to correct that interpretation or calculation by Nyhart by relying solely on the contract and the statute and not on an interpretation of disability date, which would mean that we're calculating his pension on a salary from several years ago when we know he earned more than that, this year. So that's essentially it.
I understand exactly what you're saying. I had a discussion with Nyhart, which I thought addressed that issue because there was a question about it, but apparently it didn't. Krista, do you have anything to add to that?
I would just add that as Attorney Iafredi references in her letter, under the 2019 to 2021 fire collective bargaining agreement, under the occupational disability retirement, which is section 7, it provides that should a firefighter remain away from their regular employment due to injury or illness contracted in performance of their duties, they shall, at the expiration of 18 continuous months, return to regular duty within 30 days thereafter, or shall be deemed physically unfit for duty, and therefore shall retire on occupational disability and receive 2/3 of their basic annual salary. That's the language from the 2019-21 fire CBA. So as far as Mr. Harder was concerned, he was retired under that 18-month provision, which does provide as to the disability retirement being issued after 18 months and then 30 days have elapsed. The 2006 pension plan for police and fire in section 5.031 defines the occupational disability benefit and provides that the benefit shall be payable monthly for the period of disability until the member's normal retirement date. That provides that the benefit will be 66 2/3% of the member's annual earnings at the time of the member's disability. So putting aside the state statute, I would suggest that the board review the collective bargaining agreement from 2019 to 2021 regarding the disability decision being made at the expiration of 18 months and 30 days, and in coordination with the plan provisions from 2006 that provide that the benefit shall be 66 2/3 of the member's annual salary, or excuse me, annual earnings at the time of the member's disability. And I would suggest that the board needs to make the decision as to what the time of the member's disability is and whether or not that is the date of injury, which it appears that the actuary has used to calculate this benefit, or whether it is the date of the disability retirement as suggested by Attorney Iafredi.
I thought the CBA basically says that the date of his termination, when he's no longer an employee of the town. So wouldn't that basically trump everything? There should be something to we just have a decision about it. It's just a matter of maybe NIOT's interpreting it wrong.
Well, the CBA provides for when an occupational disability benefit is provided, that it's provided at the expiration of 18 continuous months should the firefighter be unable to return to duty within 30 days. So after a period of 18 months and 30 days elapses, if the firefighter has not been able to return to regular duty, then he is determined to be occupationally disabled. The calculation of the benefit is listed in the CBA as shall receive 2/3 of their basic annual salary. The benefit, I guess, formula, for lack of a better word, is in the 2006 plan, which discusses 66 2/3 of the member's annual earnings at the time of the member's disability. So that's the phrase that really is requiring interpretation for the actuary, what the time of the member's disability is. The actuary has used the date of injury, and Mr. Harder is requesting that the date that be used is the date of the disability retirement.
One quick question then. Based on what you just said, does the CBA trump the plan?
It's the interpretation of the two documents together. That's
okay. All right. And so we need to do that as a board and then vote?
Correct.
Because I always thought it should have, and I know this is the first, I never heard of it being done this way. I don't ever know of anybody else it's ever happened to. I'm sorry it happened to Steve. And when they first, I had said something, I called and talked to him and I thought it was straightened out, like I said before, but we need to, since it's not really cut and clear, that needs to be addressed somehow, either well, I think CBA kind of does it clearly, but maybe get the plan to be more concise, but it shouldn't be having to do this. It's unfair to everybody.
Yeah, I think, can I just speak up for another minute? I don't think this is something that needs to go back to the pension plan, if that's what the suggestion is. I mean, the actuary. I think what, and Krista and I might be on the same page here, I think what the suggestion is that the NIHART interpreted the plan one way, but the board has the ability to say, no, that's not actually how the plan is to be interpreted. The board can say the plan is to be interpreted consistent with the contract. And that means that the disability date is the retirement date.
Okay.
And I think the reason why this has not happened before is because for whatever reason, NIHART didn't interpret it that way, or some prior actuary didn't interpret it that way, and therefore it never ended up, before you folks. So I think this would have been something that in the past was just as a matter of course, because the calculation would have just automatically been done as of the date of retirement. And it just sort of like a funny thing happened here. So I think the board could make a motion that would say essentially that we, and Krista, jump in if I'm not wording it correctly, but essentially that we choose to interpret the date of disability in the plan to be consistent with the contract, which is that the calculation of the basic annual salary should be done at the date of retirement. And then that way, Tracy or whoever gets the information back to NIHART can direct NIHART, because it's really up to you guys, not up to them. They're the actuary, but you are the folks who decide what the plan is meant to say.
Okay, thank you. Krista, we can vote on that tonight then?
Yes.
Okay. Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to make the date of disability is the date of retirement.
Is that good enough, Krista, or should we do more?
My thought would be to be specific to this instance, that in the case of Mr. Harder, the where he has been retired with an occupational disability benefit by virtue of having been out for 18 months and 30 days and having been administratively retired, for lack of a better word, that the board interprets the date of disablement to have been the date of the expiration of the 18-month and 30-day period. Carly, I'm certainly happy to have suggestions if that doesn't make sense.
No, I think it does. I think so long as it's the basic annual salary in effect at that point.
Okay, sir, you got enough to, I know it's a lot to put together.
Sure. So I'd move in the case of Mr. Harder that the date of disability is the date that the 18 months plus an additional 30 days expired, and that the pension benefit be calculated based off that date.
And also on his basic annual salary.
Sure. Right. Basic annual salary as of that date.
Okay, motion's been made.
I have a question on that motion.
Yes, sir.
Is the date where he was where he was taken off the payroll the same date, the same time as the date of his retirement? Or does that make any difference?
No, it's the same.
It's the day before, actually. So he was considered to have been terminated on August 14th, 2020, and his date of retirement is August 15th, 2020.
And he was paying into the pension plan up until that time, right?
That's correct.
Correct. He was on injured on duty status for the 18 months and 30 days before that date.
But there was no determination made as to his disability at the time of his injury. That came much later.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Then I second the motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Can you word that for me, sir?
Oh, sure. Yep. It's a motion for Mr. Harder's pension benefit to be calculated such that the date of disability is the date 18 months plus 30 days from his last date of service, and that the retirement date, the disability be the same as that date, which is the retirement date. Very wordy way of saying it. I don't know if I got it correct.
Okay. Okay, motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Krista,
Yes.
I can just call Nyhart tomorrow and tell them to make that change?
Correct. Or Tracy can email them, and if they have any questions, they can certainly ask me.
Okay, because like I said, I did talk to them before. I don't understand why, but Tracy, maybe the thing to do is just we'll do an email just so that we've got paperwork this time.
Okay. All right. I'm getting off. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody's work on this. Take care.
Thank
You're
you very
welcome.
much.
Good night.
Thank you.
Tracy,
Yes.
did you hear what we just did?
Yes, I did. I wrote it down. I wrote it
Okay.
down 3 times.
Okay.
All different now.
So you'll send them an email this time? And
I know what it means, so
Okay.
yes, I will
Okay.
send it.
All right, thank you very
Yeah.
much. Okay. Item N. Discussion action on death benefit. Number 1, Anthony Souza, Department of Public Works, date of death 4/8/2020, one time to beneficiary, $2,000. Need a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion's been made.
Second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve N1, Anthony Souza, one-time beneficiary of $2,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Al, I didn't hear who made the motion. I didn't hear. I caught Ralph seconding it.
Jim made the motion.
Oh, Jim did. Okay, sorry, I didn't hear it. Thank you.
Okay. Motion carries. Item N2, Louis Masciarelli, Department of Public Works, date of death 11/6/2020, one time to beneficiary is $2,000.
Make a motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve N2, Louis Masciarelli, one-time beneficiary of $2,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. N3, Edward Souza, police, date of death 12/27/20, one-time to beneficiary of $2,000, monthly amount of $2749.90. Tracy,
Yes,
was this the one there was a question on the application?
I wrote C letter and application. I included everything. The application and the letter is in the packet for you guys.
Okay.
to look at.
I thought there was a question about the application. Well, at least I had a question. You said the application's in here, Tracy?
I think it
Yeah.
starts on page 59. You have the PDF.
No, I got the.
Okay.
No, that's the-
Al, we did receive
It-
Ms. Souza's pension application. We also did receive a cover letter from attorney Elizabeth Weens. Attorney Weens represents the West Warwick Police and Fire Disability Association, along with Diane Calcy, in a matter that's currently pending in the Superior Court regarding calculation of survivor benefits. Attorney Weens has requested that Ms. Souza's application and consideration for survivor benefits, that her pension be calculated at 100% of her husband's monthly pension benefit, which is the issue that is presently being litigated in Superior Court regarding Mrs. Calcy's benefit. The actuaries have calculated Mrs. Souza's benefit in the same method that Ms. Calcy's benefits were calculated, which is 67.5%. Attorney Weens has asked that if the board approves the figures that have been put forth by Nyhart, that the board do so without prejudice to Mrs. Souza contesting the amount.
Okay, I found the paperwork. Al,
can you just hold the paperwork away from the camera?
oh, sorry. Not used to a camera. I don't see it in here. Tracy?
Yes.
I thought there was information that that this lawyer did not represent Donna Souza. Is that correct? I thought I saw that somewhere.
I don't believe that Attorney Weens is representing
I don't,
Mrs. Souza
yeah.
at this time. She wrote the letter on behalf of her current representation of the West Warwick Police and Fire Disability Association and Diane Calcy.
So
Well, I'm not sure what you're looking for, but I sent an email directly to Mrs. Souza for approval on it. As of the other day, I still have not received an answer back,
that I remember.
you know, of her acceptance of this amount. But I included the letter like Krista explained, so I'm not really sure what you're looking for.
Tracy, is this 2749 the full pension or her percentage?
Well, you have to read what Nighthawk calculated it at. It's in the packet.
Hold on. That's what I'm trying to, I got some of this.
It says 67.5%.
I got,
Yeah, if you keep going past the
I printed
application.
out, it's like 60 or 70 pages and I'm going through this stuff.
It's right after the letter and the application. I'm looking at it now. It says joint and survivor factor, 67.5%.
Okay, well, I
His
found
monthly
it.
pension, okay?
I found it. Thank you. It
Okay,
takes a lot of papers to
You're
dig
welcome.
through here.
I know.
Okay. All right. Okay, N3, Edward Souza, one time to the beneficiary for $2,000 and their monthly amount is $2749.90.
I'll make a motion to approve that amount. And I would say without prejudice, to Ms. Souza's right, depending on how the Calci litigation turns out.
You also need to add to that, sir, we never got her approval of it. We need to, pending her approval.
Yeah, and subject to Ms. Souza's approval as well.
Motion's been made. Motion's been made. Do I have a
I
second?
second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to N3 for Edward Souza at a one-time amount of $2,000 and monthly amount of $2749.90 without, what was the phrase you did, sir?
Without prejudice to.
Without prejudice. Thank you. All in favor?
And pending her approval, just to be clear.
And adding her approval, correct. All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Discussion, action, and approval of pension calculations, Albert Clark, 12/8/2020, fire normal, the amount of $1,130.29. Tracy, did you get a answer back from him?
I did. He's all set.
Okay. Need a motion?
Make a motion to approve the benefit.
Second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve O1 Albert Clark, retirement, the amount of $1,130.29 a month. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries, and thanks for Mr. Clark, his time and service to the town of West Warwick. Item P, discussion, action, approval of return of contributions. First one is Tina Valley. She's in the schools. Termination date is 11/13/2020. The amount is $15,487.94.
Make a motion to approve the return.
Second the motion.
Motion made and seconded, return to Tina Valley, whose termination date was 11/13/2020, in the amount of $15,487.94. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Q, discussion action of receiving pension application to process. David Studley, fire, normal retirement, 2/28/2021.
Make a motion to approve.
To accept.
To accept, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Motion's been made.
I second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to receive the application for David Studley for fire and normal retirement. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Discussion, action, vote on meeting dates for 2021. As I find it. Tracy, there was two, correct?
Yeah, you had me do one
Yep,
the
I got it. I found it.
Wednesday and Monday.
I found it. I went through the stack of pages 30 times tonight, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We have two lists of dates. One is on Mondays, and the other one is on Wednesdays. Just wanted to see what people's ideas was on that while we set the dates. Obviously, the February one, since we didn't have a meeting, we can't, it doesn't matter on this list, but we're voting on, but any thoughts, opinions, or ideas on which date to use?
I think Wednesday might be a better date just because if there's a holiday, it's usually going to fall on a Monday. And, coming off the weekend too, I always think that's a little tougher for vacations and long weekends and all that. So I would suggest Wednesdays.
Anyone else? Ralph?
I like Tuesdays better.
You like Tuesdays better? Okay. Michelle?
No preference for me.
Okay. Is it okay with you, Jim?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to set the meetings for Wednesdays.
Let's just hold on a second though. Tracy?
Yes.
Is that going to be any problem with any of the meetings, the zoning or?
If it's, I checked with the town clerk's office. If you keep it the second Wednesday of the month, like it's the second Monday, she said there was no one that has that. Zoning's the fourth Wednesday of the month.
What about?
So we should be fine.
They're thinking about Tuesday. Have you got any idea, anybody meet on Tuesdays other than the council?
Well, the council uses it a couple times a month, so
Are they on the first or the second?
they're I think the first and the third, they use it a couple times a month.
Right, first and
Well, the
third.
council does first and third, but then any special meetings, executive sessions, things of that nature end up on the Tuesdays in between. So Tuesdays is usually not
a good night
to try and.
Wednesdays, some Wednesdays are okay with me. How about Wednesday, March 10th?
Well, we're voting on the dates for all the year, Ralph.
For the whole year?
Yeah. They should be in the packet. I don't know if you got your packet.
No.
All right. I'll have Tracy send a list of dates that we approve to you after, all right?
Okay.
Thanks for making problems, Joe.
So
Also,
if you
Al,
stick with your Wednesdays, Albert, that's probably the best. There's also
Yeah,
a
no, I
charter
know.
review
I'm-
commission
Yep,
that's
that's okay.
running on Monday nights now for a while, so.
Yeah.
mhm.
Go ahead,
And
Tracy.
Al, you had me put 7 o'clock for the meeting time now. Remember you asked me to
Right,
move it up to 7
Yep.
instead of 7:30, so just let them know. I mean, it's okay if we go over an exec session, but
Yeah. Yeah, if we do executive session to be at 6, but if we run a little over, the meeting won't start right at 7. Does everybody understand that? How many people want to do changing it to Wednesday's meetings?
I'm okay with that.
You okay with that, Ralph?
What's that?
You okay with doing Wednesdays for the rest of the year?
Yeah, okay.
Jim?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. So we're gonna use the Wednesday meeting dates. The February 10th is already gone. Well, will be, but we're not using that. So the next meeting is March 10th. And if we have an executive session, it'll be posted ahead of time. All in favor of using Wednesday?
That's March
Aye.
10th.
Aye.
Aye, okay, thank you. Okay, that's that.
Al, I missed, wait a minute, I missed something. Did anyone make a motion to adopt the Wednesdays?
That's true. It was a-
I missed.
I'll make a motion to make the meeting on the second Wednesday of the month, starting March 10th.
Okay.
I second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to adopt meeting dates for 2021, the second Wednesday of the month. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, item S is public comment. There's 2 people out there that I can see. Anybody else? Any public comment? Okay, hearing,
No public comment, Al.
okay, hearing none, up for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
I second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. At 59. Everyone, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.